perspective, like I want my LinkedIn to grow up to be Elijah's. Um, he's, I think, one of like the most effective communicators and like makes it fun and engaging. And like any post that he does on LinkedIn, I think we could all like learn from. And so now in this day and age where you're finding internships through LinkedIn, you're trying to figure out how to tell your story and how to make it engaging. I can't think of like a better person for you to learn from. So I'm super excited to have Elijah here. So thanks for taking the time to do this again. And miss
Yeah.
you.
I know, I
Hope
miss you
hope San
too.
Francisco's fun.
It is fun. No, well, wow, I don't even know. Now I'm like nervous to present to you guys because the bar has been set so high. But no, I appreciate the introduction. And just glad to be back and share some experience that I have with just how I've learned to do my LinkedIn. And there's no like real like certification or anything. It's just some tips that I found that were super helpful. And so hopefully in this, there's like one or two things that you guys can get inspired by and be like, okay, cool, I can actually do that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and then happy to also share this afterwards if y'all want to like take a look at like what did he say here or anything like that. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'll also pause along the way if there's questions or whatever, since I'm going to have my screen shared. Stefania or Katie, if anybody has questions or something, feel free to just stop me or whatever. We can make this super informal. It doesn't have to be like a full on presentation. So, just one of your peers that are just sharing a couple tips. So let me share my screen here and then we will get started. All right. All right. So, I like to be really clear on, okay, what are you guys going to get today? You're spending an hour with us in your evening. So hopefully you can get something out of it. What we're going to do is I'm going to do a quick intro on some key things about myself and how it kind of blends into how I network and use LinkedIn to showcase my skill sets, my experiences, my story. The second thing is just understanding the why behind networking and the why behind networking on LinkedIn. Then we're going to talk about the what, which is really, so what do I need to do to elevate my profile? So you have one, hopefully. If not, now's your chance. But we'll specifically talk about some things you can actually do. Number four is actually applying it. So now that you know the why, you know what to do. Now, how do you actually start to apply for some summer jobs or internships? So we're going to do a quick demo of how I would approach it. And then again, if there's ways that you guys have too, also feel free to share along with each other. So great. And then we'll finish off with some questions. So let's jump in. All right. So as I mentioned, I work at Meta, which formerly was called Facebook. So if anybody uses Instagram, WhatsApp, has an Oculus headset or Facebook, that is the company Meta. So I do change management. It's a fancy way of just saying anytime we launch something in a company, I help build a strategy to launch it to people so folks can understand it, know how to use it, blah, 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 blah. But what you see on the right here is a little bit about, like me and where I come from. So the top picture, that's my family. I was born and raised in Kansas City, Kansas. So from the Midwest, I was super close to my family, like probably many of you. But one of the things I wanted to do was I wanted to go away for school and I wanted to explore something different. So I went to Washington, D.C., and that's where I went to school at American University. I studied business and I loved the area. So I stayed there and eventually, found my partner, Sydney. That's where you see us. We're getting married in 45 days. So another way, more to sweat from. But here, the last picture is a sign of holding trans is beautiful. And that's really helped inspire some of the, engagement I'm in within my company and then that I have on my presence on LinkedIn. And so the reason why I show these pictures is because one of the things that gets me all like hung up with networking is sometimes like you'll see a name and a title like Meta or change management or whatever. And it can seem like intimidating, like, oh, well, they're like an actual professional and I don't really know what I'm doing or whatever. But behind all that is just like a normal person, right? Somebody who's just, like has their own stories, has their own experiences and journeys to get to where they're at right now. So, you might have seen me on Facebook and seen that, but like, I'm just, again, just a peer, just someone who's navigating through this job world and figuring out what I want to do for a career also. And one of the pro tips, and we'll go along and have some different pro tips, but I think it's important to show versus telling. And what this means is, and we'll look at how it applies to LinkedIn, but I could have just like put a couple bullets on a screen and saying, oh, I'm from Kansas City. Oh, I'm getting married, and oh, I'm involved in a lot of LGBTQ, activities within my work. But it's also more telling, and you probably might remember it a little bit more to see pictures or to see something that represents that. And so there's a way that we'll be able to do that with LinkedIn. But just keep that in mind, is that it's more important to show things versus just telling them. It's more impactful, I should say. All right. So when I actually pause, I'll stop talking. I want to understand from you all, what's your perspective? So why network in college? Why network on LinkedIn? I'm going to stop sharing because I want to just take a quick let me have a hand raiser, some brave soul to let me know, why would you want to network in the first place? Okay.
Hi, everybody. I'm Yarisma Gonzalez. I reside in Visalia, California. I am a coach. Why you would use LinkedIn is to make those connections with possibly people that could possibly help you in your career. Maybe you meet someone else and they're like, hey, there's a job opening, so you should apply, and then that's how you get known around other people as well.
Yeah, no, plus one to that. I think that's great. I think like, we network, like even just right now, we're networking in this little group. You guys know me now, you can reach out. I think the power of LinkedIn is it's like expanding even more. So like, it's not just this bubble, it's now my bubble plus the people I know, and so forth. So it just is, it's like it multiplies. And so now we just got to know how to do it right. So thank you for volunteering and sharing what your thoughts are there.
No problem.
All right. So keeping that in mind, right? I think that answers the LinkedIn question. But like in college, one of the things that I learned is the folks that you're in those classes with, or you're in a club with, or whatever, they're going to go on and be in a company and do other things. And so even if right now those folks, you're maybe like not, like super close, or it does, for whatever reason, keep them in your circle, right? Add them on LinkedIn, keep in touch, because you never know where your paths may cross later on. So let's imagine, like Estefania just mentioned, while we didn't meet in college, we met in basically our first company. But let's say, in a couple of years, Estefania is like, wow, I love WhatsApp and I want to apply there. She now knows me from that past connection, that like she can reach out to me and say, hey, are there any opportunities, or who do I talk to? And maybe I don't know, but I can connect her with someone. So that same concept of like building those relationships and those connections now, building that foundation can help for future opportunities. As I kind of mentioned, a couple of things like for me with like demystifying networking, because it seems very like, I don't know, I always was super nervous about networking, just to be completely honest. But I think a couple of things that helped me think through it a little bit better is just understanding your story, right? So figure out, which is number one, like start with you. Figure out like your story. So, why did you choose the college you went to? What classes are really interesting to you and why? So those kind of like pieces, you can just begin to practice that story. And again, there's a lot of personal, I think I'd say personal challenges or obstacles that we've gone through, and that's super important. But the way to really like drive it home is to be able to tie it back to the professional. So let's imagine, you grew up and, you had to work from an early age. What does that mean to the workforce, right? It means that, all right, well, you're super hardworking. You've learned to be really organized from when you're this age. You're able to do XYZ or whatever. So it's about taking that personal experience or whatever your story is, and then bringing it to the professional scene and showing them that value. Because sometimes they don't know. So you just got to make the connections for them. So that's all about kind of understanding your story, writing down some bullets, and then practicing it. And so the second point, which is network with a purpose. And, it takes time, right? Y'all are in college, you have like work, homework, all these other things. So you want to make sure to like use your time wisely. So really think about, if I'm interested in this area, let me like find a person and like give them something specific. Say, hey, I want to learn more about this field, or I want to learn more about your company or whatever. So like, don't just say, hey, like, let's stay connected. Like, be thoughtful about maybe what you want to get out of it. Because not just for their time, but also for yours, right? You have a lot of other priorities. And so when you talk to someone, you want to make sure to be like, have some thought of what you want to get out of it. And the third one, I think, is pretty simple, right? Practice makes, what is that? Not practice makes perfect. Practice makes progress or
I think it's
something.
that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. But practice networking. So if you think about it, like networking is all about a conversation. And so the more conversations you have, the more you're able to like just understand how to navigate it better. So I'd say like even when I was like networking in college is so much more different than networking now, just because I've learned to understand my story a little bit better and to be able to like translate it to different folks. So again, that just takes time, but there's no, this is a perfect opportunity, just coming to this like this presentation to start thinking about some of those things. Okay, so I don't know about you all, but for me, like the high level stuff is great, but like I just want to just tell me what I need to do, right? I don't know if you guys are feeling that way, but that's what this section is all about. So does a lot of folks have LinkedIn? I can't see anybody's hands. Let's see, actually I can see them now. Any raise of hands if you have a LinkedIn? Okay, cool, we got some. All right, so my goal here is that you're going to be able to take one thing away, at least one. It'll make me super happy if it's two, but at least one thing that you can be able to take away from this part. So three things: your profile, your people, your presence. So we're going to walk through each of these pieces, and when we do so, start to think about your LinkedIn, even if you want to bring it up, and you can switch back and forth to this to kind of just begin to brainstorm or take note of different things you could do. We can also share at the end of this a one pager that can summarize some of these pieces for you. That way you don't have to remember it all. So going to your profile. So I'm going to minimize this real quick. Okay. So this is, if you were to go to my page right now, this is basically what's shown. What you see here is on my profile, it's all about me telling my story and my experiences. And so the first thing you see is a cover photo. Right off the bat, if you guys didn't know me, you'd be able to understand, okay, cool. Like you have some buzzwords, like I can tell what you're passionate about or how I want to be known. And so you begin to like create that story and that narrative for yourself right when somebody goes to your page. They don't even have to talk to you to know something about you. So I think that's an easy win, right? Putting a cover photo on there. And y'all might have heard of Canva. They have like simple LinkedIn banners that you can create and then like adjust from what you want. So it's not like you have to be a design person or, have creative ideas. Like just, don't reinvent the wheel. Like go there, get inspired with a couple of them and create one that you can showcase on your story. So for me, I wanted to be known as a D&I leader, a change strategist, someone who's very entrepreneurial. And so those are some of the buzzwords I used, but there are a lot of different banners to help kind of tell the story that you want to right off the bat. The next part here is around your headline. So that's the piece right under your name. And so kind of like the whole idea of telling your story. So if you're not on your page where you can see the cover photo, you're just scrolling or something and somebody sees your name. This headline is another way that you can market yourself. So how do you want to be known in that brief instance? And so I know when I thought back to when I was in college, maybe I didn't have like, I didn't know exactly, I didn't have like a job, right? Like I worked at the library in college. So, I was thinking, well, do I want to put working at American University Library, or do I want to do something different? So there's ways that you can try to market yourself with, let's say you're interested in design or you're interested in engineering, or whatever it may be. You can put like, some of those buzzwords to be able to like carve that narrative for yourself. So here's some examples that to give you an idea of it's your kind of creativity that can make it happen. So like I previously had like change strategist, creative communicator, D&I leader. You have some other folks that say communication strategist, and in the area that they're interested in, social and environmental and sustainability. This is a cool one. It's UX designer, and it's kind of like a motto, right? Helping people to realize their vision. So while these might not be like for sure, like for you in college, it's more so to just give you an idea of like, you can do so much with that one line to help tell people what you're interested in, maybe where you're at. Like it could be like, I'm trying to think of some examples on the top of my head. If anybody has any, feel free to share. But like if you're like a really good designer or someone, you could say, I'm terrible at thinking on the fly. So actually, let me not do that. It's going to be so butchered, but you get the point, and I'm happy to kind of brainstorm at a later point if you have some ideas of what you want to do. The last piece to this is really, again, hopefully the whole thing that comes out is about owning your story. And the way that you can do that is through showing them. So this goes back to that showing versus telling. So if you go to my LinkedIn right here, there's like this section called featured. And if someone were to go to your page, boom, they see the cover photo, they see a little title, but then they see like these images. And I don't know about you, but like my eyes go to like pictures and more than like a lot of text. And so what this does is help communicate some key things that are important to you. So this could be, for example, a cool project, maybe that you did in college and you wrote a blog about it, or you have a YouTube video or something. You can be able to create a post and then tag it in here. So if people can look to see your work and what you care about. It could be like, hey, I got awarded this scholarship, or I graduated, anything like that. You can kind of keep like maybe top 4, top 5 things where people can see that. Does anybody have, I'll stop sharing real quick so I can hear from you, because I talk a lot, but does anybody have any ideas of maybe things that they might be able to put in that free featured section? Any thoughts?
I can go if no one wants to go.
I think Christian raised his hand too.
All right, we can do a couple people. Yeah.
Yeah, so like for people in college like myself, I'd probably recommend like taking a look at the clubs you're involved, the communities you're involved in, and then like kind of summarizing everything that you've been doing in that club. Like say for example, you're in a club that does outreach for like computer science at like nearby middle schools around the college. You can say like, oh, like this past week, a group of like a lot of computer science engineers kind of like went around the city and started teaching like younger kids, something that shows what you're doing in the club.
Absolutely. I think that's great. And then we'll go to the next page we'll go to, which are like posts and stuff. But like, let's say, y'all went to somewhere, like you had a picture or like a little text, you could pin that post. And so folks are like, oh, wow, like he's not just focused on his school, but he's also talking about community, and that's like something more to tell your story, So I think that's a great idea. Any other thoughts? All right. Okay, so let's keep going. Let's see. Cool. So those are a couple of key pieces for your profile. The next piece is around like the people. So the connections. I know we chatted earlier about being able to use this to connect with people and network and all that stuff. So I'd say the biggest, not the biggest, but one of the most easiest things to do. And I smile because it doesn't happen often, and it's okay. I've done it before. So if you've done it too, it's okay. But let's say you find someone that you're like, oh, wow, they're in a really cool field or job or company, and I want to like connect with them. Maybe you don't know them, or maybe you do. But personalizing the connections actually goes a long way. And so what I mean by that is, if you find someone and you go to request them or like connect with them, you can send a little blurb there that like gives some context, especially if you don't know them. So here's a couple of examples of folks that have actually done this. So remember when Estefania said that we were a part of this Hola group? Well, one of the folks that had gone to this Hola group that we went to, that was a high school student looking to, a college student looking to come to Freddie Mac for their first job. So after that, he had reached out and said, hey, my name's Rodney. I participated in this panel. I wanted to ask if I could talk to you about your experience in this role. So not only did he just add me as a connection, right, but he gave me something to actually respond to in the context in which he was interested. So we met at Hola, he participated in this, and he wants to know more about this. So now I was able to respond to him and, like set up time to like talk to him about that. That was super helpful. Let's say you don't have a direct ask, right? And you're not wanting something from them in that moment, but you just want to like connect with them and follow them and see their post. So like this is an example. So Daisy, I've never met her, but she basically saw my post when I came to Facebook and said, I hope to connect and follow your journey. So even something as simple as that, where you're not asking for something now, let's say she was interested in the job later on, I would see this thread of like, oh, cool. Like Daisy's been following me since blank, and provided context into why she was interested in connecting. So those are a couple of examples in which like doing those personalized connections, whether you need something or you don't, can go a long way, especially if you don't know someone. Because otherwise, I've gotten some requests that I'm like, I don't even know who you are. Like, why would I add you? It's kind of like, if someone were to like show up to your party by, like not say anything to you, it's just kind of weird, So just, I think it's an easy win. Another number two for elevating kind of the people aspect is, which I think is really cool, is you can follow people and companies that you're interested in. So here's a couple of them that, they're super high profile people. I don't really need to connect with them, but I do want to just follow their posts and see if there's anything, that I'm interested in. So, Mark Cuban, obviously, I don't know if y'all know who he is, but he's on Shark Tank, and I'm a fan of Shark Tank. It's like my favorite show. But that's someone who I'm interested in following. I don't need to connect with him, but there's also some folks like inclusion strategy at Netflix. Seems interesting. Not really in my field, but I'm interested, so I followed her. So again, recommend if there's areas or people you're interested in, feel free to follow them, and then that can help you understand more about your interests. And you can always unfollow them if you need. But last but not least is be selective, obviously, in follow up with them. So not as much here, but like for the folks that you actually connect with, it's if you want to be sure to like personalize your connection request and follow up with them and things like that, know that you don't have to connect with everybody you meet. I think that's something that I fell into when I first like started networking. Is anytime I met somebody at a networking event, or a conference or anything like that, I like requested everybody. But then all of a sudden my like LinkedIn feed just started being like a bunch of random people that like I didn't really get anything out of. And so I think what this means here is, let's say you go to a conference, you can meet someone or go to like um, a school event or something. You can meet someone and think they're cool, but like if maybe you're not like, well, I don't really care about this area at this point, no need to feel like you need to connect with them just because you met them, basically. All right. This is the last piece, and then we'll flip over to see if there's any questions so far, and then we'll dive into actually like how would you find an internship or a summer job. But for the last piece of elevating your presence, so this is where, let's imagine you got like a cool looking profile page, and you have like some connections, right? But if you're quiet, right, if you don't post anything or like anything, folks won't be able to like see your page, and you won't be on the actual feed. And so number one is just post, post, post. So I think Christian, you were mentioning about like if you went to some event with like a club or whatever, and you guys like volunteer doing X, like take a picture of it, like do whether it's like a selfie or it's like of the thing you're doing, post it, and just it could be like, hey, volunteered with at group to drive blah, 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 and then like include the post, right? Because then you'll be able to not only get that into your network, and then you're top of mind for them, like, oh, I didn't know Christian volunteered there, that's pretty cool, like good to know. Because then think about it, right? Christian could later on connect with, let's use myself as an example. If I saw that, I'd be like, oh, right, I remember I met Christian at Mission Scholars. That's cool. And then let's say later down the road, he's looking for an internship at Meta. He could reach out to me. And remember, if he already did that personalized note when he sent my request, I'm like, have a good like connection. I'm like, that's great. When he goes to ask for an internship, like he's kind of top of mind. I already know about him because I've seen his posts along the way. So it's all kind of interconnected. But a couple of ways you could post are here on the right. You could, let's say you follow somebody who's like super interesting, you could reshare an article. So I've done this, let's say for a company that I've worked at in the past, like, hey, this is really cool, blah, 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 blah. You could showcase your own activity. So that's like what I was talking about. Like say you're participating in a panel, or you're organizing an event, or, you just created this really cool project, showcase your work, showcase your activity. You can highlight your wins. So if you just did something like I don't know, you could think of something like that, or as well as like tell a story. So this you'll see is at an Ola ERG event at Freddie Mac. I just kind of walk through like what happened and what the takeaway is. And, that got some really good feedback from folks of like, oh, that's cool. I got to see a picture and I got a takeaway. So that's that. Along with the presence here is like engaging with others. So even if you don't like to post, right? If you're like, well, I don't have anything, or I'm kind of shy or whatever, the next best thing is at least engage with the folks that you are following. So, commenting of like, hey, like looking forward to seeing your videos, with this guy that posted something about joining BuzzFeed, or someone who posted this graphic, putting insightful and then dropping a comment in. So I think this is another way to engage and keep your kind of like profile up in the minds of the folks that are following you as well. I don't know, last but not least here with this is like, it's not like it costs you money to follow folks, right? Or in different areas. So if you're still figuring out like what you're interested in, something piques your interest, like feel free to follow them. You can always, again, unfollow them later, or, you know, if if you're not interested anymore. So I would say don't limit yourself, you know, to whatever whatever your degree is in now, or whatever you're focused on. Because I don't know, you can learn a lot from what folks post and things like that. So before we switch over and go to like find some internships, and we'll go ahead and just like go through and do a test one, I wanted to pause to see if like, what are your thoughts? Like, do they make sense? Do they seem like doable? At least one of them, like the cover photo or anything like that, seem reasonable? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, let's do this.
Hey, Elijah, I have a question.
Yeah, yeah.
So something I don't do on LinkedIn at all. Actually, I rarely post or anything and like share, like even when I switch jobs or know like I got this award at work, or it feels like weird to like brag about myself. And even like I know students, like when we're writing our college apps, it's like it feels weird to brag about yourself. And I don't know if other students are going through that right now, like, oh, how could I post, this semester I took 4 really hard classes and still got a 4.0 or like a 3.8. Like that's, people do post that on LinkedIn, and people getting engagement through there and visibility to maybe folks that they could get potential internships from. But how do you battle that, or do you have any suggestions? Because I'm assuming some of these students, and including me, don't know exactly how to get over that.
Yeah. I think that's a great question. I wish I had the answer, to be honest, of like a magic, like wand to just make us all like just not feel that. I think the one thing that I will say is that we all do feel that. So it's like, it's not like it's like you're the only one. I think it's just a matter of um just like, this is just knowing that this is the place to do that, and I'm like, it's not like you're like you're like at your family reunion, like sharing all these things. Like, this is literally the place to do it. It's like a professional networking based on your professional accomplishments. So it's just like, there's no better place to do that now. And I think the best thing, just like we think about networking and how like it takes time and to get comfortable, and like the same thing with like posting and like sharing your accomplishments, because you should, right? Like, you worked hard, you're volunteering, you're doing all these extra things, or whatever. And so, that's a way to like pat yourself on the back and do it, because other people are doing it. Just like know that. If not, like, I feel like if I thought it was not okay to post it, I would tell you all, just like I'm telling you like things to do or not to do. So I would say just trust us. I know it's kind of scary, but like just try it. And I think it's important to show the positive like impact, like meaningful things that you're all doing, because otherwise no one's gonna know about it. And so, and that's not how you get jobs, right? They want to know they're hiring someone that's like, or internships, right? They want to know someone who's like done this cool volunteer stuff and done all of this. And unless you share it, then it's hard to tell that story, right? What about people writing recommendations? Yes, so that's one that I need to do better at. And it goes back to this, I think.
You can probably pull up Linda Lang's
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
LinkedIn. So one way that one of our friends does it is, if she doesn't post about herself, a recommendation, you can like ask someone to write a recommendation for you on LinkedIn. And so like Isabella Garfias, you worked at Heritage. If there's someone there that can speak on behalf of you, and that's like permanently posted on your LinkedIn. So if you have like a professor that you've done research with, or like even Katie could write a recommendation for you on LinkedIn, then that's already something on your profile that like speaks highly of you. And it might like help mitigate the fact that, you don't post all the time and about positive things about yourself.
That's
That's I did not know that. So that's actually really cool and like takes off the heat, like you were saying, Stephania. Like I don't feel obligated to. Sorry, there's like buzzing in the back. I don't feel like, oh my god, I have to post this to make myself look better, and like people can kind of assist me on that, so it alleviates that stress. That's cool.
So
no.
you can write them for each other, right? Or like another peer that you worked on a project with.
Yeah. I love that. And I need to do better at that. See, I'm still improving on this LinkedIn
I mean,
game.
I don't have
So
any, so I can't.
all right. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And like that's something that I'm gonna commit to along with, you all committing to one of these things is like that's something I need to do better at. And like and so thank you for that suggestion. Let me show you what it looks like with Linda, who we were just chatting about. So if you were to scroll down here, there's these like this recommendations section. And so like, hey, I see you. But like talk about if you didn't know this person and you were like, they reached out to you and they were like, hey, I'm interested in learning more. And you saw all this like great, all these folks like are telling how great she is, like that gives you so much like comfort, like, oh wow, okay, let me learn more about this person. And so I think that's a great call out, Estefania, because that's something I would love to do also, and we can start today. So great. Okay, any other thing, and then we could any other thoughts, and we can switch to
I think
searching.
Julie said you had a question in the chat,
Let's see.
or is it Kathy? Kathy, do you want to share?
Yeah, my question is, if you like write a recommendation for someone, does that like show up on your feed, or like is that at all tied to your account? Like if someone went to your account, would they be able to see your recommendations to other people? I don't know.
No, they wouldn't be able to see it from, like, if we look at this one here.
I think it's like given and received
Yeah,
might be on
let's
the
see.
link. So maybe you can see the received ones or the ones that you've given.
Given.
Hmm.
So like if I went to like Linda's, I could see the ones that she gave. So I think it, like maybe not like copy and paste the same stuff, but like I think like we'll be able to look here and see it. Sweet. Okay, cool. Any other thoughts? Any other tips? Because again, I'm not the expert. I think it's more of like we learn together, and I think that's a great call out there. All right. Okay, so the last part, and then we'll flip it over, see if there's anything else. Is let's imagine we are a marketing student and we want to find a summer job because I don't want to work at the library anymore. So let's see how I could do that, an internship or something. So what I would do is, and again, I'm sure there's other ways to do it, but like if I just searched here and I did it before and I just did marketing internship, leave it there. There's a couple of things you could do to like filter in. So like you could literally select internship so you don't have any of these like extra stuff here. If you like, which I think is like pretty cool, there's like easy apply where you can just literally, they just like send your profile to the recruiter, the person who's looking through and hiring folks. So that's an easy way to apply. But the key there is obviously you want your LinkedIn to be like the best version of you digitally. So going through all of those kind of tips and stuff we walk through to really showcase that story and your work and your interest and what you're focused on would be key in order to do that. But yeah, I mean, so like it's pretty pretty straightforward, I would say, here in terms of like key thing is like searching your keywords. So thinking about what are those areas or your degree that you're wanting to look at. Another way to go about this too is if you find an internship that's not in LinkedIn, like grab those keywords, right? Grab those keywords that you see in your description and things and just plop them in here. Because you'll be able to like filter this internship, which will show you what you want to look at. And so you could even do
Could we
like
do like a real life example, Elijah? Like if Brianna Lopez,
yeah,
like what are you interested in?
yeah, let me hear it.
I'm interested in nursing.
All right, let's see. Doing nursing. Okay. Well, I also feel like we have to do location. So
Where are you located, Brianna, or where would you want to do your internship?
Probably Santa Barbara, California.
is this the right one? Like this? Or this one?
That one.
This one? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think this is a good example because I mean, some of these I personally don't, it's like looking at me. But like, obviously I don't know what the right fit is, but you could look at these qualifications and like the nursing majors, like there's all these pieces here that like knowing this right before you would apply, let's say this was like, oh, I want to do this one, you can like tailor your LinkedIn to be able to like showcase some of this stuff, like Excel, PowerPoint, like adding some of these pieces within your about section, like something like that. um let's see if there's anything. Yeah, I mean, so that's kind of one little example there. Looks like you can also set an alert, so that could be cool where you get an alert here as new opportunities come up. But yeah, not sure what these other ones are. Okay. Huh. Okay, so I also don't know if this is like a right fit, but like I mean, I think it's pretty cool that they have all of this like pretty straightforward on the page, and it gives you that opportunity to like again tailor your LinkedIn to like what you see here if this is the focus that you wanted to go forward with. Any other thoughts on what we want to search or anything? No other suggestions? No nursing or
Does everyone have an internship for the summer already? Is that what I'm hearing?
I wish. You can do marketing.
okay, we'll do marketing with what's the location?
Anywhere in California,
Okay.
or you can do Santa Barbara. That's fine.
Okay, we'll start here and then we'll go from there. So you do make sure this is clicked. I feel like they're pulling the internship here, but like let's see, MBA. Okay, so like this is an example. Event marketing. It has, let's say, towards a bachelor degree in marketing comms, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't have a specific like freshman, sophomore, any of that. So I mean, this like having this piece here, like that basically what I love about job descriptions is it like gives you exactly what they're looking for. So like being able to like again tell the story about your work and like how you can try to connect it to it. So draft event blog copy, like let's imagine you just did an assignment where you needed to like write I don't know, like some story or whatever like that. You can tell the story through that piece or assist with social media strategy and post. Well, hey, if you're already doing it for your LinkedIn, that could help kind of showcase that you're active, and like things like that. So that's one. This one, outreach manager. I'm just going to the qualifications. So okay, so this one looks like it's a bachelor degree, but But yeah, I mean, look, let's see. Huh. So, I mean, all to say that I think like using this, like putting your keyword in, narrowing in as much as you can at first, and then obviously, come through these. A lot of times I'll like, which I don't know why I can't do it here, which is weird. A lot of times I'll save a lot of it. Oh, it's right in front of me. Save a lot of these jobs. That way, like I'll kind of come through, save everything, and then I'll go back in and like really do a deep look into like what I'm actually interested in, and then go from there. But um, looks like there's a couple of marketing stuff, comms marketing that could be great internships to get started at.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah. All right. I think there is pretty much done. Let me see here. Cool. So all right. So as we wrap up, right, there's something that, as a as like a fellow peer, right, that I'll commit to, which is I within the next, I'm gonna say, what is it? Within the next 2 weeks, I am gonna commit to asking someone for a recommendation. That's something that I haven't done yet, but I think it's a great suggestion. And so what I'm going to recommend is after this session is think about a couple of the things that we talked about, right? Whether it's literally forget LinkedIn, just practice networking with one person. It could be adding a cover photo, adding a couple of pinned posts to your LinkedIn, or even sending 2 personalized LinkedIn connection requests. So my recommendation is, hey, just choose a couple to commit to, just like I'm committing to right now. And that way, it's not just all on you and you guys. Like I'm doing it too. Estefania, what are you gonna do? You got to commit with the group too. You and Katie, what's your?
I should probably make a post. I think it's been
Okay.
like 2 years since I've posted, and I don't know if that's. I know, Kathy. So maybe I'll do a post, or I don't have a cover photo,
See,
and I think that might be a good idea because that should be easy. I know myself. And
right.
keywords. I'll do those too. So everyone has
Okay.
to keep me accountable too.
All right.
Katie, what are yours?
Yes, this is so inspiring to me. But I was selected to participate in an emerging leaders program in Santa Barbara to increase my impact as a leader and benefit mission scholars. So that's the perfect thing. I should share that on LinkedIn. So I'm going to create a post and share that with everyone too, and just be more active. And sometimes we're hiring at Mission Scholars, so posting our job application on LinkedIn also, and networking through there. Just keeping it updated, keeping it fresh.
Yeah, that's awesome. Any ideas from the group? Anything you're like you got in mind to do also?
I really want to use the Canva, the templates you're referring to, because that seems super fun, and like to like customize my own profile to make it more creative. So I'm looking forward to doing that.
Nice.
I'm one of the coaches. I'm in the car, so I can't do video, but I'm going to give a shout out to Yvette, who's on the call, who's my mentee, and she did her first informational interview with a local vet this week. So shout out to her for doing one of those.
That's
Nice.
awesome. How did it go, Yvette?
It was great. I got a lot of information, and I don't know, it was just great, like being there and listening to all what they do. It made me more interested.
That's awesome. Thanks.
All right. Well, I'm super excited that we all, whether it's mentally or verbally, we're committing to something with these next couple of weeks. I'll share out this slide deck to you, Katie. That way you can, I know it's a little bit different. And then that one pager, that way we can just have it all, if that's helpful. And yeah, happy to connect afterwards. So now you all know, if you connect with me on LinkedIn, I want to see a personalized connection, and you got check one thing already done. But yeah, I appreciate being here. Stephanie, did you?
I was just going to ask, like, students, you have Elijah right now. So if you have questions about what it's like moving across the country, what it's like graduating college and then finding a job, or what it's like to work at Meta or Facebook, like, now's your time. You have the perfect person here. So if anyone's interested in tech or the different things that Meta offers in terms of work, like, it's not just change management. It could be, working on a certain product. So does anyone have any questions or curious?
I have one. What's the most exciting thing about your position, like your transition, and also like what you're doing now, and what do you look forward to do within your position? What's most exciting?
Yeah, so I think what's most exciting, I think more so, it's not directly related to my position, but it's like around is um, when the company kind of went through their like name change of like going from Meta, like the focus on, I know it sounds weird to me also, like the metaverse, like that just is so exciting to like be, at a company that is like that forward thinking, like pushing the boundaries, the limits, type of thing. And so I think how that actually translates to my role is some of the projects that as a result of this change get rolled down to me. And then like I can help the company and the folks that are impacted by some of those changes like go through successfully. So I think that's just the most exciting thing for me is like we have I have it in another room, but one of those like Quest, the like Oculus devices, and so we'll have meetings like in the metaverse. It sounds like sci-fi, but it's really cool. But I think those are one of like the cool things that I'm just grateful for, to have this opportunity to, yeah, like the world. It's like, like in a good way. But yeah,
That's really cool.
yeah, it's pretty cool. All right. Well, if there's no questions now, obviously, feel free to again add me on LinkedIn, and happy to chat through and connect. As let's say you do some of your research of like, I'm really interested in this or whatever, even if it's in a couple of months. Like that's the great thing about connecting now, is because your interests are going to change along your college journey, and you never know where I'll be, Stephania, Katie, and you name it. So yeah, let's build a connection now for future opportunities.
Thank
Yay,
you.
thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Elijah.
Wow,
Absolutely.
that was powerful. I'm inspired. I'm gonna stay up all night updating my LinkedIn. Hope you all are as well. But it's very timely too, because as you know, a lot of internships are recruiting now for summer. Even though it feels early, it's just about to be February. Now is the time to start looking. So use these tools on LinkedIn. And a good way to prepare yourself is you already have your resume. You hopefully you should have a draft of a cover letter. Another way to prepare is just set up your LinkedIn. Expect that people are going to be looking at your LinkedIn and your profile, and have that ready. So when an opportunity arises or when you get a connection, you have everything ready and you can just take the opportunity.
Okay.
So thank you so much, Elijah. This is a really
Yes.
informative and valuable workshop.
Awesome. All right. I'll talk to y'all later. See
Okay,
ya.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Elijah.
Bye, Elijah.
And I'll stay on. If anyone wants to check in about internships or has questions, and then I'm dropping in the chat also the doodle link. If you could fill out your availability for February. Our next workshop is going to be about majors and how that translates to career path and impact. So definitely one you don't want to miss, but we're trying to work. We know you are all have a lot on your plate and are busy students. So we're trying to work with your schedules and find a time. So please fill out the doodle. And then we'll stay on the call if anyone wants to hang out and give us an update. But thanks everyone for being here.
Katie, did you know, I don't know, do you go by Iris? I've only known you by Lolly. She's my cousin.
That's
I
my real name.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got on, I was like, what?
Yeah, I think you originally connected us. Or you
Yeah.
put link in.
But I didn't like know you guys.
Yeah. Cielo's my mentee.
Uh-huh.
I
How is
haven't
she doing?
from like the first time that I talked to her, she seemed like she was doing okay. She was in Fresno.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, that's nice. Like, you know, I'm nearby. Because she hadn't moved in yet. And then I graduated in December with my BSW in social
Wow.
work.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And then currently I'm like doing my master's online from Kentucky, like a university called Campbellsville.
Uh-huh.
So it's like all like online, and then I'm gonna be like going through internship like probably around May.
Wow.
So yeah, it's just a lot of change, but you know,
Yeah.
I'm still trying to get back into the groove of things.
That's great. Well, I feel like this is great, right in line with your field of work and social work,
Yeah.
being able to be a mentor. But I know Cielo has like a lot of personal health issues that she struggles with. And so that's been a barrier for us reaching out sometimes. So how has that been for you? Are you guys able to connect, or is it difficult?
Well, I've texted her a couple times. I think maybe if I just call her, maybe she'll answer her phone more.
Yeah.
But like, you know, some people are better with text messages or phone calls. So it's like kind of it's kind of a challenge, but you know, I think I can like get through to her and stuff.
Yeah. Great. Oh, good. Good. Oh, that's so fun. Cousins on the call. I thought that was such a great workshop.
Yeah.
He's incredible. Elijah is just, I want to be friends with him.
He's like so clean and slick. Yeah, he's like free to catch up. I haven't talked to him in so long.
That's what he said. Yeah, I was on the call a little bit early with him, and he was like, I'm so excited Stephanie is going to be here.
I know, it's like, you know, before you could just like go grab lunch together or work on a project at work. And then now that, you know,
life changes.
Different cities.
Yeah. Well, I'm bummed that no students stayed on the call to talk to us. Why wouldn't they want to talk to us? But I guess it's late. They're tired. They're hungry. But we had a good turnout, so that's exciting.
I know.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for being here. I guess we don't have to do an hour of office hours if no one's here.
Yeah, Katie, now you get to have dinner at a reasonable time
I'm
too.
so excited. I'm hungry. All right. Well, good to see you, Yarisma, and you too, Estefania, and hopefully we'll all connect soon.
Okay.
Okay. Have a good night, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.